disaster. Let's begin with the first thing. 30 parties have come forward, there they are, and have filed a complaint, including the DA, that the elections were not free and fair, and they want a re-election. They want this redone. The first person to file a grievance was Mangosuthu Buthelezi from the IFP. He filed a grievance immediately once he realized that there was something going on. So the reports coming in is the ink can be washed off the ballots. And it's quite easy. It was coming off people's fingers, and it was coming off the ballot papers. People were washing them off just as easy with some detergent. It was proved in a public display. Numerous members from the EFF were going around and high-fiving each other after double voting. 16 members were arrested for double voting. There were busloads going from polling station to polling station to vote. There was a lady from COPE who did a public statement that she was able to go to 4 polling stations within an hour, and was able to do all the bio, and was able to vote, and then showed them that she said she had already voted. So it just proved that the IEC had no control over this voting system. They were finding vehicles full of unsecured vehicles, full of ballot boxes. There they are. Where were they going? They also found vehicles burnt for the special vote, and they arrested people for that as well. The special needs vote, they were attacked, and that vehicle was burnt, so all those votes were destroyed. Funny enough, the EFF does not want a re-election, nor does the ANC. Out of 48 parties, 30 of them, plus the DA, except the EFF and the ANC, want to do re-election. Some of the polling booths ran out of paper. Some of the polling booths didn't even have people there. They had election IEC members with unsecured ballot boxes trying to get in their vehicles. Where were they going with these boxes? No police escorts. The ink could easily be removed. People were able to double vote. Dead people were voting. I found it quite interesting that the ANC never commented too much on this election. They just assumed they were going to win. And in a corrupt government that is so corrupt, it has been corrupt the entire time, numerous things over the thing. Do you honestly think now that we have an election that they would be honest now? It's obvious, it's logical that they were going to cheat. The ANC government has been dishonest for 24 years. I apologize. Dishonest for 24 years. And during this election, do you honestly believe that they would have done this correctly? Now, after numerous complaints about the EFF, racist comments, the violations of the IEC rules, the constitutional rules, and the BLF, the only thing they did to the BLF was tell them to take down their slogan. Now, the BLF is complaining too that the elections were rigged. Except for the EFF, because they believe that they're winning. Well, obviously, a number of their members voted 50 times and high-fived each other. This election was completely a disaster and a failure to the whole of South Africa and its people. People are sick and tired of corruption. Corruption is a human rights violation, and this entire thing was a joke. Now, if Mr. Ramaphosa, President Ramaphosa, so-called, is supposedly the great leader that he states he is, there would be in his best interest to have another election in December, use the electronic machines that are retina scan machines and fingerprinted machines where you cannot cheat. You're registered online, and if your fingerprint doesn't match the fingerprint that's online, you cannot vote. This will be a free and fair election. It needs to be under UN supervision with international observers from all over the world. Otherwise, this is a joke. Otherwise, this complete and utter joke. Now, I can guarantee you, and I predict this, that Mr. Lying Ramaphosa will stand up there and say, as President of South Africa, I categorically state that there was no unfair stuff. Just in a few places there were some irregularities, but people are blowing this completely out of proportion. We've never committed any crimes, and we are not corrupt in any way, shape, or form. Yes, I believe that too. When the pigs eye, when the pigs can fly. Okay, he will state that it's a white racist, it's the white racists that are complaining, and that this is all orchestrated by right-wing farmers or some right-wing organization. No, 90% of the parties are black, and they're all complaining about the same thing. That is, this election was a complete and utter joke, and should be null and voided because it didn't stand up to any standard of free and fair elections at all. So having said that, a message came through from Helgard Miller. He's in Washington, and he states that the ANC government is now an illegal government. They have violated the Odessa Agreement and trying to change the constitution, and therefore, under international law, they're an illegitimate government. The land reform, if they try to take the land reform, this is a violation of international law and a human rights violation. He is imminent in getting a meeting with Vice President of the United States and the Secretary of State, Pompeo, Mike Pence and Secretary Pompeo. And they will state their case to them. Now, in the last And here's where everybody needs to get their stuff straight and stop with the racism. I got messages early in this election that there was a racist cape um, where white people were in one line and black people were in another to register. Well, there's the picture. Everybody's in a line trying to get into the place. And it was debunked by black people who were there themselves and said it's absolute nonsense. People started going off and just saying stuff that wasn't true. So people, stop pointing fingers at each other. Stop using racism to get by. Your problem right now is you're all in serious trouble. You're all in serious trouble. This government has stolen the election. The ANC did not win this election. They stole the election. It was cheated. The EFF didn't get that many numbers. It's probably a third of that. Because they couldn't do it fairly. They couldn't have done it fairly. And it's the same as them stealing land. And another thing too, the BLF, please go away. Nobody wants you, not even the people. You didn't even get to 1%, even with cheating. So it's time for you to go away. Nobody's interested in your racism. As for the EFF, I'm very disappointed in you from the beginning because you only used racism to get what you want, and now it's proved that you're a cheat too. So as for the ANC, I don't believe you won 50% even. I think you won about 35% of the vote, and that was because people don't know better. This election is a fast, and according to our organization, USAC, we have officially declared this election a fast and a joke, and we find fault with everything that it was done. It needs to be redone, and I suggest that all the parties in South Africa call for an election for December of this year, which gives you time to redo this correctly. Also demand international intervention to have a free and fair election, that everybody can have a chance to do correct votes, and you need to be controlled in a controlled environment. Ask for international funds to do this correctly. Enough is enough. I have more news for you soon. I'm negotiating with a certain party, and we will be taking a delegation to Washington very soon. I had discussions today as well with them. I don't want to say anything till we have it in hand. To the ANC leadership, you're a disgrace to your people. You are corrupt to the core. And after 25 years, your people are still in townships. Your people don't have work. Inflation is ridiculous. The gas price is ridiculous. You're killing your farmers. You're killing your food supply. You've destroyed your military. You've destroyed your economy. You've destroyed every municipality that you control. Your services are atrocious. Your electricity system is a joke. There's no way 50% of this population voted for you after 25 years. 90% of your population is still living in townships when you've had control over 75% of the land of the country and you've done nothing. You built clinics and never gave them medicine. You gave them farms and you left them to rot. And you allowed foreigners to vote in your election. Somebody said to put VAT numbers to vote. That's a good idea. But I think a fingerprint registration through a computer, and you have to put your fingerprint there to vote again. And if it doesn't match, and this is electronically, if it doesn't match, you don't vote. That way they can prove who you are, and dead people can't vote. And you cannot vote twice. I leave you with this thought. There is enough attorneys in South Africa, lawyers, if you want to call it that, from every political party. And now you need to do it pro bono. And stop asking for money. Your country is about to be stolen by a communist organization who is not interested in your country, but to steal, to sell it to somebody else. Now, but for a few brave people, you need to stand up in mass while this is happening now and demand a re-election, demand international intervention, and demand observers, and demand this to be done electronically, not on paper where it can be corrupted. More to come as the elections follow. But this election was declared by USAC as a failure. Another point is if you don't pay taxes, you don't vote. The problem is there's VAT in South Africa, and they will say that is paying your taxes, I'm afraid. The problem too is a small percentage of this country is paying taxes. Now, when that percentage falls away and this economic disaster that is about to happen, if the ANC takes control and even gives this to the EFF, who are complete buffoons, your country is about to go into the toilet. So you have to stand up and fight right now. You have to get these lawyers involved. You have to file grievances and demand change. Demand change. This election was not an election. It was another robbery. I'm out of here. Good night. Be safe. Don't forget, you are the people. You are the power. Don't let these people take your livelihood. Don't let them live you in fear, or let you live in fear constantly. Good night.